My background is kind of unique and scary. I grew up in the famous Levittown, New York, the place where all the veterans returned from the war and built this incredible community. My dad was a mailman, but I went off to college and got a degree in nursing. So in 1978, I became a registered nurse, something I'm extremely proud of, and I'm still a registered nurse today. It gave me a very strategic advantage versus my peers as I went through my career. So I worked 5 years in a burn center, probably my first exposure to real pain, my first exposure to real critical care. It was a New York City burn unit, and it was a pretty dynamic place, and I have vivid memories of it. But after going to graduate school while I was working full-time as a nurse, I went into the medical device, capital equipment business, and then distribution. I spent 25 years. My last 3 jobs were CEO of 2 distribution companies, and my last job I was CEO of a medical software company, which I took public in 2010, and I retired 2 years later to be a full-time grandpa. Today I find myself with 10 grandchildren, so it's a pretty busy job. But I retired because I have a granddaughter with a health issue, and so I'll address some of that. She's the impetus, the vision, the reason behind the name Amour. So today I find myself coming out of retirement. I started this company, AmourCBD. Our website is AmourCBD.com, and we produce absolutely the best CBD pain relieving cream. Contains 200 milligrams of CBD, and it is virtually the only CBD cream with combination of lidocaine and CBD that has FDA registration. And that's important. So if I backpedal a little bit, how did I form? What made me start Amour? Well, my wife, the grandmother of the 10 grandchildren, she lived her life with chronic back pain, scoliosis surgery at the age of 10, and 5 years ago, 6 years ago, she took a fall and was in agony. It was the time of the opioid crisis. She wanted to avoid opioids, and we searched high and low for solutions. I found CBD, and I went out and got her some CBD, and it was a miracle drug, a miracle cure. But it had significant drawbacks. It had a horrible odor, so she wouldn't wear it, wouldn't put it on if she was going out socially. It was greasy, so it would ruin some of her nicer outfits. And maybe most concerning is it contained THC. And we wanted no part of THC. And today, we find studies happening with THC that it's causing lung issues, it's causing brain issues. So THC has no business being in CBD. And so when I looked at all these drawbacks of the CBDs being sold, I said, this could be done better. And I contacted my friends who I'd worked with an entire career, scientists, engineers, and we developed Amour. It's odor-free, it's not greasy, and it has 0 THC. You're allowed to have 0.03. I insisted on 0.0000. There is no THC in our product. And the results have been flattering, shocking, amazing. The medical community, doctors I work with, tell me that, Ed, you developed a medical grade CBD. We know you can buy CBD in a gas station for $9.99. Well, some of that CBD, the hemp is grown in Russia. It's got pesticides and solvents. This is all U.S. grown hemp. And I said FDA registered. There's a big difference between FDA registered and FDA approved. Let me simplify it. The FDA approved are the drugs that the pharmacist will give you behind the counter. The FDA registered are the cough syrups, the Tylenol, the things that are out in the pharmacy over the counter, but they comply with FDA standards and regulations on ingredients, labeling, packaging. Again, all toward the moral compass of doing it right, doing CBD right. And the results we've gotten, the results of patients who call us up and say they've been in agony, in pain, and they get incredibly fast relief due to the lidocaine and due to the combination with CBD. Lidocaine is without a doubt the most effective topical pain relieving device. So why don't people use it? Why do they use this odorous stuff? Because it's less expensive. There's really a division of two types of CBD companies. People who are trying to hit a price point, so they want to be the cheapest one on the shelf, so they cut corners in ingredients, sourcing, and they don't do the FDA registration. And then there's us. We did it right. We have the best ingredients, the best painkiller, which is the most expensive. And then we went through the very expensive and very time-consuming process. It took a year to get the FDA registration. But we're out there, and people can now get it on AmourCBD.com. So you would ask me where the name came from, and I mentioned my granddaughter. She's 13 and thriving, but she's had 2 heart transplants. She was born with a diagnosis called hypoplastic left heart syndrome. It's basically half a heart. She had 2 open heart surgeries to keep her alive in the first 3 months. She had another surgery at 18 months, didn't go that well. So she had a heart transplant at 2, a cardiac arrest at 9, and then subsequently a second heart transplant at age 9. She's 13, thriving, an honor student. But Amour just resonates with me of the love for her and other patients who are suffering. So it's a soft spot for Grandpa. So in addition to helping people in pain, I have a particular soft spot for first responders. My brother was a fireman, New York City fireman. He was killed on 9/11. He was in ladder 3. That truck is the centerpiece of the museum. And I'm very close to many New York City firemen, as you would expect. But we have been working and running promotions for police, fire, military, the first responders, the people who protect our lives and our livelihood. So there's a particular soft spot for them, and we're working hard to reach out to them because the rigors of their job cause them to have chronic pain. And again, with an FDA-registered product with no THC, they can take this product, use this product on their joints without fear of compromising their employment status. So what's the mission of AmourCBD? Where are we going to take this company? Well, the mission was just to make the absolute best, most effective, and safest CBD product. Again, the whole issue around THC. I see on the news, we live in Chicago, a bus driver who lost her job because she took CBD and it had THC in it, and she failed a urine test. Just horrible stories like that. We read about people generating, pulmonary conditions from THC, much of it vaping, but just other THC challenges. We just wanted to make the best, the safest, the most effective, and give people relief. The rest will take care of itself. If we are successful, of course, there'll be other companies that will be looking at us. I've worked the second half of my career was all in private equity venture capital, so I know how that game works. If we're successful, I'll get a lot of new friends. But that's not the goal. The goal, I was successful. I was retired. I was very fortunate, the son of a mailman. I was enjoying grandpahood. I came out of retirement because my wife needed a solution. The current solutions weren't acceptable. And we have more than stumbled upon just a miracle. And it's helping people every day. I've surrounded myself with tremendous talent of people to develop it, to market it, and we're going to see where it takes us. But we're excited about the road ahead.